Welcome to the edge of your own evolution. You're not here for comfort, you're here for control. And control, real control, is not given, it's taken. Machiavelli didn't write for the masses, he wrote for the few, the predators among prey. And if you're listening now, you're not a sheep, you're sharpening teeth. The world doesn't reward good intentions, it rewards calculated execution. Every handshake is a negotiation, every smile a potential mask. Forget the fairy tales. Power isn't about kindness, it's about leverage. And the man who understands the dark psychology behind human behavior, he walks through chaos, untouched. You've been conditioned to think virtue is your weapon. It's not. Awareness is. Awareness, discipline, and the will to wield your mind like a weapon. This is not motivation. This is war strategy for the modern mind. Cold, surgical, unapologetic. Because when you remove emotion from the equation, what remains is precision. And precision wins. This is where you stop being reactive and become dangerous. Comment below. I am the architect of outcomes. Power is not about domination, it's about control, subtle, invisible, total. The man who learns to control outcomes without ever raising his voice is feared far more than the loudest tyrant. Control begins with self. If you can't command your own impulses, you have no right to influence anyone else's. You're just noise, predictable, exploitable, weak. The Stoic knew this, so did Machiavelli. Control yourself first, your words, your time, your attention. Because what you give freely, people instinctively devalue. Let the masses chase dopamine. You chase leverage. Stop reacting, start observing. Most people bleed power through emotional leakage, oversharing, over-explaining, over-feeling. You move in silence. Your presence alone bends situations in your favor because you've already studied the board 10 moves ahead. You must never beg for influence. You engineer it. Every word you say is calculated, every silence intentional. Never speak to be understood. Speak to direct. And when you don't speak, let your stillness unsettle the weak. A true strategist manipulates perception. Control how you're seen and you'll control how people move around you. The most dangerous man is not the one with power. It's the one who can withhold it, coldly, calmly, without flinching. If you're emotional, you're readable. If you're readable, you're beatable. But if you become unpredictable, you become untouchable. Rewire yourself for internal dominance. Train your mind to ask one question in every situation. What advantage exists here? Extract it, weaponize it, move on. Never seek approval, seek positioning. Remember this, you are not a participant in the game. You are the hidden hand that moves the pieces. Comment below, my silence is a weapon. People are assets, liabilities, or leverage, nothing more. The mistake most men make is treating everyone equally. That's not kindness. That's blindness. Machiavelli knew this. Human beings are tools, either to be sharpened, used, or discarded. Harsh? Maybe, but true. If you want power, you need to study people the way a surgeon studies anatomy, dispassionately, surgically, with full intent. Every person has a weakness, a desire, an insecurity. Locate it, understand it, and decide. Do you exploit it, manipulate it, or protect it? That decision makes you a kingmaker or a pawn. Most relationships are transactions wrapped in the illusion of connection. Peel the illusion back. Ask, what does this person want from me, and what do I want from them? The one who can answer that without flinching owns the room. Be the observer in every interaction. Mirror their tone, match their rhythm, control their comfort, make them feel safe enough to speak freely, so you never have to. When people feel seen, they become loyal. When they feel heard, they become useful. But when they feel owned, they break. Learn the line, play close to it. Every person you encounter is running a subconscious program. Validation, superiority, safety, revenge, approval. Hack it. Don't preach to them. Position yourself as the answer to their program. That's how you convert influence into power. You don't force behavior. You guide it, gently, invisibly, permanently. The most Machiavellian move is to make them think it was their idea all along. This is the game behind the game. You don't rise by shouting. You rise by understanding. People are predictable. Emotions run in loops. Learn the loop, interrupt the loop, own the loop, master this, and no door stays closed to you for long. Comment below. I read people like code. Because when you understand human leverage, you stop begging for power and start bending reality. Respect is good. Fear is better. But the fusion of both, that's where kings are made. You see, in a world where men are desperate to be liked, the one who commands fear without ever needing to raise his voice becomes unforgettable. Respect is earned through consistency. Fear is earned through unpredictability, and when you combine both, people orbit around you, not out of affection, but out of necessity. That is power, real power. You don't get there by being agreeable. You get there by becoming a controlled weapon, one that smiles, calculates, and never flinches. Fear doesn't mean terror, it means presence, an aura that says, "Cross this line, and I will dismantle you quietly." A man like that never needs to posture. His silence holds more gravity than other men's rage. But here's the catch. You can't demand fear or respect. You project them. You embody them. You must walk like a consequence, talk like a blueprint, and think like a goddamn tactician. People feel it. They sense that your mind is laced with quiet violence. You don't need to act tough. You simply are not to be trifled with. Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." But the truth is, you must simulate both. You make people feel like you're their protector while knowing you're their evaluator. You're assessing whether they qualify to be near your energy. And when they do, you reward them with respect. When they don't, you erase them politely, ruthlessly. The modern man wastes his life trying to be liked. The strategic man moves like thunder inside clear skies. His allies revere him, his enemies hesitate, and most never even see him coming. That's what happens when you deal in the currency of fear and respect. You become a myth walking in flesh. Comment below. My presence is a consequence. Because when people feel you before they hear you, your power multiplies. That's the psychology of cold control, and it's non-negotiable. Caring too much is the death of strategic men. It clouds judgment, fuels reaction, and leaks power. The moment they know you care, they know how to control you. Strategic emotionlessness isn't about becoming numb, it's about becoming unshakable. You feel, sure, but you don't bleed. You absorb, you calculate, and you respond when it matters, not when it's convenient. Emotions are the strings that puppeteer average minds. You cut the strings and hold the knife. Think like this. When you're indifferent, you become invincible. You cannot be manipulated, baited, provoked, or guilted. Emotional men are readable. They react to slights. They explain themselves. They overinvest. And every time they do, they lose positioning. The man who doesn't care whether you praise him or insult him, that man holds gravity. That man is dangerous. People can't control what they can't read. And if they can't read you, they fear misstepping around you. That fear becomes your shield. That ambiguity becomes your weapon. Women test for it. Men compete against it. The world challenges it. And your task is simple. Remain emotionally unbothered in the face of it all. If they ghost you, good. If they betray you, good. If they doubt you, good. All of it is intel. All of it reveals their hand. Never chase closure. Never chase explanations. Let their actions tell you everything, and let your silence scream louder than their noise ever could. You do not owe the world your heart. You owe yourself dominion. Care when it's profitable. Care when it strengthens your empire. But do not care by default. That's a fool's luxury. The cold mind is not cruel. It is disciplined. It calculates risk, reads intention, and moves only with reason. When they realize your energy cannot be provoked, your attention cannot be bought, and your emotions cannot be used against you, they fold. Not because you were hostile, but because you were untouchable. Emotionless, not heartless. Still, not soft. That's the line you walk. Cold clarity is the superpower of every high-level strategist. Learn to sit in silence while the storm swirls around you. Make your indifference louder than their desperation. Comment below, "I do not chase, I choose." Let the world feel your absence when they expected a reaction. Let your stillness become legend. Because in a society addicted to noise and validation, the one who masters detachment owns the board. Disappearance is a weapon. The weak chase attention, the strong vanish, and watch the room collapse. In a world addicted to noise, silence is dominance. Understand this. The man who controls his presence is the man who controls perception. You don't always need to fight. You don't always need to explain. Sometimes the most calculated move is to withdraw. Mid-conversation, mid-relationship, mid-conflict. When you vanish at the peak of their emotional chaos, you force their mind to orbit you. Silence isn't absence, it's leverage. It creates space for confusion, reflection, paranoia, and in that space, you win. When you're always available, you become expected, predictable, valueless. But when you disappear intentionally, people realize what your presence actually costed: time, energy, security. The Machiavellian man doesn't beg for understanding. He disappears, lets the silence ferment, and lets the other side rot in their own assumptions. You create doubt in their certainty. You break patterns, you interrupt their control, and when you do return, you're not the same man, you're the upgraded version. Sharper, colder, harder to reach. You teach them access to you is a privilege, not a default. Learn this fast. Most people only value what can be taken away, so take yourself away, not emotionally, strategically. Vanish from the circles that don't recognize your worth. Vanish from the arguments that serve no purpose. Vanish from the eyes of those who believe they've figured you out. There is unmatched power in not showing up when they expect you. Let them search. Let them wonder. Let them miss what they thought was permanent. You are not a constant. You are a calculated force. Withdraw your energy from the unworthy and watch them crumble trying to recreate your presence. The most powerful moves are often unseen, unspoken. You don't need to post it. You don't need to announce it. Just disappear and let the echo of your silence do the talking. This is high-level detachment. This is strategic withdrawal. When you stop giving them your availability, they're forced to respect your absence. And when respect enters the equation, power follows. Vanishing is not weakness, it's dominance in camouflage. They called Machiavelli cold, but cold preserves. Cold protects. Cold survives. Never let them predict your next move. Never let them get used to you. Be there, then be gone. Be close, then be unreachable. Teach them the rhythm of distance. Teach them the cost of underestimating your silence. Make yourself a question they can't stop asking. That's how kings move. That's how shadows rule. Comment below, "I am remembered in silence." Because when you vanish with purpose, they don't just miss you, they fear your return. Mercy is often mistaken for strength, but in the world of strategy, excessive mercy is liability. Understand this. Dead weight doesn't carry you forward, it buries you. And most people you're holding on to are already rotting. If someone no longer serves your mission, your peace, or your momentum, they are an enemy of your future, whether they mean to be or not. Cutting people off isn't cruelty, it's clarity. The Machiavellian mind understands that to build an empire, you must be selectively ruthless. You do not cut people off with rage, you cut them off with precision. No closure, no announcements, just a surgical extraction of energy. The second you notice someone draining your focus, undermining your vision, slowing your ascent, you don't explain. You exit, and you do it silently. You do it finally. Most people keep circles full of ghosts, friendships long expired, relationships built on nostalgia, alliances rooted in fear. But the strategic man knows, you don't keep people around out of history, you keep them around for alignment. If they aren't evolving, they are eroding your foundation. People will beg for your loyalty while offering you nothing but distraction, drama, and delay. They'll make you feel guilty for growing, for outgrowing them. But guilt is a weapon used by the stagnant to anchor the ascended. Do not fall for it. You don't owe access to those who feel entitled to your presence. You owe it to your purpose to remove anything slowing it down. Cutting people off doesn't require hate. In fact, hate is weakness. You cut because you're done, not because you're bitter. No arguments, no drama, just silence and distance. You don't block to provoke. You vanish to protect. The ruthless man is not the loudest in the room. He's the one who knows when to let go, with finality. Do not keep people just in case. That just in case is killing your discipline. There is no honor in dragging the undeserving across the finish line. Your loyalty must be earned, not inherited. Audit your circle with the eye of a war general. Who strengthens you? Who slows you? Who siphons energy and who multiplies it? Treat this like life or death, because it is. The quality of your circle determines the gravity of your presence. You can't become a legend while surrounded by liabilities. Look around. Who would clap if you failed? Who's competing silently while pretending to support you? Cut deeper, cut faster. Stop negotiating with emotional termites. Your peace is not up for debate. Cut them off in your mind first, then in your behavior, then in your life. And never look back. A man building a throne doesn't explain why he's clearing the room. Comment below, my cutoffs are clean and final. Because when you master the art of detachment from the wrong people, the right ones will beg to stay. That's the power of being cold, clear, and completely committed to your path. Force is for the unsophisticated. The real kings don't raise their voices, they raise questions in your mind. Psychological war is the art of domination without ever touching the battlefield. It's not about physical strength or loud bravado, it's about mental precision, subtle manipulations, calculated silences, controlled ambiguity. The man who wins the mental war never looks like a threat. That's why he wins. People underestimate quiet power until it's too late. Understand this, true dominance is invisible. You don't assert it, you design it. You architect outcomes through emotional control, strategic timing, and cold detachment. Machiavelli knew this. The strong man can break you. The wise man makes you break yourself. That's the highest level of control. When your opponent walks into their own destruction, thinking it was their idea, you never fight fire with fire. You let the fire burn itself out while you move silently behind the curtain. In this world, perception is reality. Control what they see, and you'll never have to show what you're truly capable of. Don't argue, influence, don't threaten, suggest, don't chase, withdraw. Create tension through absence, power through mystery, and influence through emotional discipline. If someone disrespects you, don't react. Respond 2 days later with elevation. Let them wonder what's brewing. Uncertainty is a weapon. Most people break in the presence of silence because their minds are loud. You are the silence. You control the tempo of every conversation by speaking less. You hold gravity in your pauses, and you weaponize ambiguity with surgical intent. Understand the battlefield. Most men reveal their tactics in their emotions. They show fear, desperation, jealousy, envy. But a cold, stoic strategist reveals nothing. You could be 5 moves ahead or 1 inch from checkmate, and they won't know until the pieces fall. This is psychological war. You don't control people by overpowering them. You control them by making them predict you wrong. Your power lies in being unreadable. The man who can't be predicted becomes impossible to attack. Your silence becomes paranoia. Your consistency becomes a threat. Your unpredictability becomes fear. And your calm, that's what breaks them. Because they expected resistance, and instead, they get stillness. You don't fight battles you've already won in your head. You just watch them unfold. When people speak against you, don't defend. Observe. Let them believe they've struck a nerve while you plan 2 levels above their comprehension. Never defend yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. That's emotional poverty. The man who engages with fools becomes one. You don't need to respond to lies. You respond with results. Results make noise that cannot be silenced. Psychological war is about crafting that narrative without saying a word. You learn to provoke thought, not reactions. You plant doubt, you challenge ego, you reverse engineer their moves before they make them. This is not a game of strength, it's a game of nerves, silence, patience, and absolute inner control. Play it like a master and you'll never lose a battle again. Comment below, I win wars before they begin, because when you control the unseen, the visible bows to you. That's not arrogance, that's strategic dominance. To become truly dangerous, you must become present but untouchable, a phantom cloaked in value. You're not everywhere, you're rare, you don't chase, you appear, you don't linger, you imprint. Understand this, men of high value don't just build empires, they vanish into them. They walk through rooms like a rumor, like a shadow, like a signal of consequence. Not because they're flashy, but because they've mastered non-attachment. Most men are loud because they need validation, but when you move like a phantom, you don't need approval. You are the event. You don't need to say much. Your detachment speaks louder than their desperation ever could. Your silence, your absence, your refusal to explain, those are the sharpest blades in your arsenal. Presence without need, power without noise. When people realize you don't need anything from them, they recalibrate their entire posture. They respect what doesn't cling. They chase what walks away. The man who can walk away from anything at any time with zero explanation, he is free, he is feared, he is respected. That is you. Attachment is the leash that tames lions. You cut the leash. You are not desperate for love, praise, attention, or inclusion. You operate from abundance of self. That's the phantom mindset. You don't need to prove your worth, you embody it. And you don't announce your exit. You vanish mid-sentence. You let your absence expose what your presence was worth. People remember the phantom because he left before they were ready to understand him. That's how you dominate perception. You show up just enough to become unforgettable, and then you disappear, leaving only echo, speculation, impact. You're not owned by outcomes, relationships, or systems. You use them, you build within them, and when they're no longer useful, you exit them without emotion. This isn't cruelty, it's elite-level discipline. The world can't pin you down because you have no visible chains. You're immune to guilt, you're indifferent to loss. You're willing to walk away from anyone, anything, anytime, because you know who you are. You are not an emotional investment. You are a limited edition weapon, strategic, scarce, controlled. People try to own what they think they understand, so don't be understood, be felt, be remembered, be impossible to replace. Attachment comes from fear, fear of loss, fear of loneliness, fear of rejection. Kill all three. They do not belong in a sovereign mind. The high-value phantom is not lonely. He is sought after, and when he is gone, his legend multiplies. When you speak, people listen because you don't speak often. When you engage, people lean in because you rarely do. Every action you take must feel like a calculated drop of cold water in a hot room, precise, sharp, shocking. Don't just be present, be felt through your absence. People should wonder where you are, what you're doing, and who has your time. That's power, not proximity. Mystery. In a world full of men oversharing, overreaching, and overexposing, you move like a whisper of consequence. You say less, you show less, and yet you control more. Comment below, my absence is unforgettable. Because when your presence is rooted in discipline, not desperation, you don't follow gravity, you become it. To become untouchable, you must stop trying to be understood. You must abandon the illusion that the world will ever hand you what you deserve. It won't. It never has. And Machiavelli knew this centuries ago. Life does not reward the just. It rewards the sharp, the strategic, the relentless. You don't rise by being good, you rise by being effective, and effectiveness begins in the mind. You must rewire your psychology for warfare. Detach from outcomes. Kill your need for fairness. Bury your craving to be liked. None of it serves the man you're becoming. The Machiavellian mindset isn't cold for the sake of cruelty. It's cold because emotion contaminates logic. The untouchable self is forged through radical self-reliance, not surface-level confidence, control of your urges, of your time, of your energy, of your reactions. The moment you let someone else dictate your emotional state, you've been conquered. Don't argue, don't explain, don't complain. Move in silence, build in silence, win in silence. Your results will shatter doubt. The world respects evidence, not excuses. Cultivate a mind that anticipates betrayal, that expects disrespect, that plans for disappointment, not out of pessimism, but preparedness. Stop hoping they'll treat you right. Start preparing for when they don't. You're not a victim. You're the variable. You are the deciding factor in every equation. If they cross you, it's because you allowed it. If they slow you, it's because you let them near. Radical ownership is your armor. Never blame, always adjust. Adaptation is your survival. Ruthlessness is not about destroying others. It's about never allowing others to destroy you. Every day you wake up, ask yourself, what must I become immune to today? Weak men seek motivation. Strategic men build systems, boundaries, protocols, rituals. You train your mind the way a warrior sharpens his blade, daily, deliberately, without apology. The Machiavellian thinker does not operate on emotion. He operates on outcomes. What moves me closer to power, peace, leverage, control? That becomes law. Everything else, discarded. You want real strength? Remove your need to explain your choices. Let people choke on their confusion. Let them underestimate you. Then walk past them carrying the spoils of everything they said you'd never achieve. You don't need revenge. You need results. You don't need validation. You need vision. Focus is your fortress. Precision is your weapon. And time is the currency of kings. Waste none of it on people, habits, or thoughts that don't serve the empire you're building. People will call you cold. Let them. They confuse clarity with cruelty. You're not cold. You're calculated. You're not bitter. You're bulletproof. There is no higher form of power than the man who does not flinch, who doesn't fold under pressure, who doesn't beg to be seen, who doesn't need applause to act. You are not becoming a better version of yourself. You are eliminating the weaker version. Every setback, every betrayal, every failure, it wasn't punishment, it was data. And now you sharpen the blade. Because the untouchable man is not the loudest, not the biggest, not even the most talented. He is the one who plays the long game, moves like a shadow, strikes like a ghost, and disappears before the echo fades. He is legend. He is myth. He is unreachable by design. Comment below, I am inevitable because I am unshakable. And if you've come this far, you're not just watching Psygorithm. You are becoming cold strategy, stoic strength, mental warfare. That's what we teach here. That's what you carry forward now. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, because this was only the beginning.